Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today is Monday. Roster cut down day in the National Football League is tomorrow. So you know what that means. We are right around the corner from the National Football League kicking off. And I'm getting this video out a little bit later, and I wanted to. Today, I'm going to be doing my 2025 Cincinnati Bengals final 53-man roster projection for the 2025 NFL season, where the roster cutdowns happen tomorrow, and I'm going to kind of predict every single spot and all 53 guys on the Bengals roster, along with the practice squad guys. So conveniently, the Bengals waited to cut guys. They haven't made a single roster cut yet as this video is being recorded. By the time this video goes up a little later today, there'll probably be some cuts in Cincinnati because they're gonna have to get a move on now. But a lot of teams have started their cuts. The Bengals have not. So good thing for me. So I can get this video out right now. So without further ado, if you guys do enjoy, please like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. We are trying to grow the channel this football season. We're gonna have plenty of content this football season. We're gonna have our Bengals schedule prediction at the end of this week. We're gonna have NFL prediction week next week where I showcase fantasy teams on my fantasy teams on Monday. I do predictions on Tuesday and Wednesday with the NFL season kicking off Thursday. But enough of that. Let's start this off right at quarterback position for the Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to be obviously on the roster, and Jake Browning will be his backup on the roster. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to make the starters orange. As you can see, the key down here. Starters orange, green will be depth and a lock to make the roster, and blue will kind of be a preseason slash training camp battle, and they ended up making the roster and making the final 53. For Jake Browning, I'd go depth and lock. What color green is that color green right there? Yeah, same color green. Jake Browning, he's our backup quarterback. He's a lock to make the roster, but he is not a starter. Running backs, I think they carry probably three this season. Chase Brown, Samaje Perine, and Taj Brooks. Obviously, Chase Brown is your starter. No questions asked. Samaje Perine is a lock to make the roster. Did not mean to do that. I gotta do this too. Two quarterbacks being kept, three running backs being kept. Okay, that's good. Taj Brooks, I think, ends up making the roster. Seventh round rookie. Showed some flash in the preseason. Most likely a lock as well. He's going to be on the roster without a doubt. So that part's pretty easy. But we get to the wide receiver position, it gets a little bit more interesting here. So wide receiver one, obviously Jamar Chase. Wide receiver two. Why is it not letting me do that? Wide receiver two, T. Higgins. Wide receiver three, Andre Yosivach. So those three are starters. They're starters. They're starting three receivers. At wide receiver four, I think ends up being Jermaine Burton. Suffered an injury in the Colts game, the final preseason game on a return. Looks to be fine though right now. We'll see how that ends up looking out. I'm not going to call him a sneak in. I'm going to obviously call him a depth lock, but some people are speculating that his roster spot might have been stolen by one guy I'm about to mention. I'd say Charlie Jones. He's had a really good camp, showed some flashes in the preseasons, also a depth lock. And then you have five wide receivers there. Your sixth wide receiver to sneak in the roster ends up being a training camp and preseason standout, Mitchell Tinsley. It's not the color blue. That color blue right there. Had a great game against the Washington Commanders in the preseason. Didn't even play a snap in the preseason week 3 game against Indianapolis. That shows you all you need to know. He's going to be on the roster. Joe Burrow has advocated for him to be on the roster. Had a great camp. The coaches have talked highly about him. Previously on the Washington Commanders, played well in the preseason, and he is going to earn a spot on the Cincinnati Bengals 53-man roster. So I think they end up keeping 6 wide receivers. Isaiah Williams, who I had in my preseason 53-man roster, just misses as probably the 7th wide receiver out. He'll probably be a keep on the practice squad, I would guess. Tight end 1 being Mike Gesicki, tight end 2 being Noah Fant, tight end 3 being Drew Sample, in tight end. Do they keep 4 tight ends? That's a question. Micah 6 your starter. These two are locks as depth. Do they keep four tight ends? Does Tanner Hudson end up making the cut this year? Interesting question. Really interesting question to ask. I don't know. It depends how the roster really shakes out. Eric All Jr. will be on the PUP list, I assume, to start the year. He might end up starting the year on IR and missing the entire year. They might just shelf him for the year. Who knows what ends up happening with that, but he'll obviously start the year on PUP at the very bottom. I'll just put his name there now, actually. He'll be PUP, but I'm gonna say right now they keep three tight ends. We'll see how it ends up shaking up. I think Tanner Hudson could be on the roster, but I'm gonna say they keep three. The Bengals tend to keep four usually, but we'll see how the rest of the roster shakes up, and we'll go from there. Offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. Your left guard will be Dylan Fairchild, all but locked up at this point. Your center will be Ted Karras, obviously. Your right guard, give me 1 second, and then Amarius Mims will be your right tackle, obviously. Your offensive guard. As of right now, Dalton Reisner did take a visit with the Cincinnati Bengals last week, former Minnesota Vikings and Denver Broncos starting guard, one of the better pass blocking guards in the league, is still in the free agent market. Took a visit with the Bengals. Sources said the visit went well, but he is currently not on the roster. Right now, we have to mock it like he's not on the roster. Who is the starting right guard? Is it Lucas Patrick? Is it Cody Ford? Cordell Volson is done for the year. So in that case, I'll put PUP/IR. I'll also put Cordell Volson as done for the year on PUP/IR because Zach Taylor already said his shoulder injury will keep him out for the year. Who do I think the Bengals opt up if Dalton Reisner is not in the building and if Dalton Reisner does not end up signing with the Bengals? I think it'll end up being Lucas Patrick, sadly. I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan at all, actually. I'm not a fan of him being a starter. I think he's a glorified backup in the NFL. He's a decent depth piece, but I think they'll end up starting him. I think Jalen Rivers, who is a rookie fifth round pick out of Miami, will end up being your backup right guard. Cody Ford can play the position too, but I don't think they keep him there. I think Matt Lee will make the roster as your backup center. A lot of Bengals fans are big fans of Matt Lee, and I've liked him since he got drafted out of Miami too. Cody Ford can technically be your backup for both tackle positions. Doesn't really matter. We'll put him behind Orlando Brown Jr., I guess. It doesn't really matter. You put Cody Ford, he'll be on the roster, no doubt. And did they keep a ninth offensive lineman? Some contenders, Jackson Kirkland can be on that roster. I mean, Seth McLaughlin, a center, undrafted free agent at Ohio State. I don't think him and Matt Lee will both make the 53-man roster. I think the other one will probably be signed to the practice squad. So I'm going to say Seth McLaughlin ends up making the practice squad and Matt Lee or hold on. I'm gonna put Devin Cochran here. Have him keep 9 linemen, Cody Ford here at back guard. So that's your offensive line room. I think they keep 9 in total. I do think that it's a lot of he was Seth McLaughlin was a good center at Ohio State, suffered an injury last college football season, cut his season short, signed with the Bengals, undrafted free agent. I think he will end up being a practice squad addition, but I'm not sure if it'll last long in the practice squad to be totally honest. So at your offense, you have 5, 11, 14 plus 9. So 14 plus 9, 23. So you have 23 on your offense. That seems a little low to me, honestly. So obviously you can carry 53 guys. 53 guys on a roster. So 23 is a little low. We'll modify it at the end and see how it ends up shaking up. Okay, defensive end number one, Trey Hendrickson. As we speak today, as I speak when I'm recording this, he is still not a starter. I mean, not a starter. He is still not under contract, or he's under contract, but he still is waiting for his extension with the Bengals. He has pleaded that he will not play under his current contract, and the Bengals have to put up or shut up and give the guy his money. At interior defensive line, TJ Slayton and BJ Hill. I will have TJ Slayton's more of a nose tackle type. BJ Hill is a three tech, and I put Miles Murphy as DN number two. But I mean, the second DN position will be a rotation of guys. Shamar Stewart will be in there at time. Joseph Osai. So it will be a rotation of guys with Shamar Stewart behind him and Joseph Osai behind Miles Murphy. So I'm gonna call these guys their glorified starters right here. Shamar Stewart, obviously first round pick, he's a lock, and Joseph Osai's a lock at this point. In a 1 year prove-it deal for Osai. Interior defensive line, they're gonna keep Chris Jenkins Jr. Al Golden has raved about him this camp, likes him a lot. He will be on the roster. Let's see how good he plays this year. Other guys, McKinley Jackson, Taven Bryan, Howard Cross. That's probably your defensive end room. I mean, McKinley, how do I spell his with one? It's McKinley Jackson. Third round pick in 2024 out of Texas A&M. I think he'll pretty much be on the roster. Some people are saying he's not a lock, but I think he's a lock. I do not think the Bengals are going to give up on him that early. So you have those guys. The question is, do they keep 5 or 6 interior defensive linemen? Your fifth one's probably a battle between Taven Bryan, former Indianapolis Colt, Cleveland Brown, and Jacksonville Jaguar, versus Howard Cross, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Notre Dame, who Al Golden really likes. And I think the Bengals end up keeping Taven Bryan. I think that's the more likely scenario. He's a veteran. He's played in the National Football League, former first round pick, I believe, actually. He's played a lot of football in the National Football League, and I think he'll be a good piece as depth. I do think Howard Cross will definitely be a practice squad addition, though. Al Golden is a big fan of him, so that's two. That's two, two, that's three, and that's two. Okay, so that's your defensive line room. Now, how I see it right now. Linebacker, Logan Wilson, Demetrius Knight Jr. I do think Demetrius Knight Jr. will be your technically starter over Oren Burks. They've raved about him all training camp. Didn't have the greatest preseason showing, but I think 100% he will be your starter come week one. And I think you'll have your two backup linebackers, Oren Burks and Barrett Carter, who's a rookie fourth round pick out of Clemson. That's your linebacker room, 2 and 2. I don't think there's any questions about the linebacker room at all. I mean, there is one little question, I guess. Joe Giles Harris, say it something like that. He had a decent preseason, had a few plays he made that maybe flashed the Bengals a little bit. I think he'll be on the practice squad, so he will be a practice squad guy. So we have Tanner Hudson, practice squad, who's not end up being on the roster. We have Seth McLaughlin, we have Howard Cross, we have Joe Giles Harris. So there's practice squad additions we have here. So yeah, free safety Geno Stone dealt with some injuries, but he will be on the roster. And Jordan Battle, those are your two starters right now. I do expect the Bengals to be very, very active on the waiver market. Among the safety position, I get Kyle Duggar in New England is rumored to be on the trade block. We'll see if the Bengals entertain going for him, but I think they will add a safety. The safety room is very, very thin right now. Tyson Anderson, primary special teamer, he will be on the roster 1,000%. And Dejon Anthony, who is not a lock, is not a lock by any means. I think they might go to the waiver wire to replace him, to be totally honest with you. I'm going to put him as a 50-50 sneak in. He didn't really flash at all in training camp, suffered an injury in the Indianapolis Colts game, looked like a hamstring injury, I think, and just really hasn't flashed like crazy. I mean, seventh round pick at Ole Miss last year. His time is just not yet, I guess, and we'll see if the Bengals end up replacing him through the waiver wire. Another guy that's interesting named PJ Jules. Again, another guy who showed flashes for the Bengals in the preseason, was hard hitting, especially in that third preseason game against Indianapolis. So we'll see what ends up happening at the safety position. But I think that's, as the guys are on the roster right now, that's your safety room, those four guys. So you have 7, 9, 13, 17. 17 plus 23 is 40. So there's room for 13 more. So we'll go down to Evan McPherson. He'll be your kicker, obviously, no doubt about it. Ryan Rico. And I do think Cal Adamitis will win the long snapping job. Haven't heard much talk about it, but I haven't heard much talk about the long snapping job at all. But I do think Cal Adamitis has been in the Bengals for a few years now. He'll be the one that's favored over William Wagner in that position. So, 2, 5, 5 plus 6, 11, 14, 14 plus 8, 22, 23 offense, 23, 27, 30, 34, 38 plus 2 safeties, 40 plus 3 down here, 43. So we're at 43 before the cornerback position. So I think we'll have some room on the roster to add some more. So we'll see what ends up happening after I do the cornerback room. Cornerback 1, Cam Taylor Britt. Cornerback 2, I think your nickel will be Dax Hill. I'll put him as your nickel cornerback starter. Cornerback 2, technically, I mean, the cornerback room is pretty thin, but cornerback 2, I technically DJ Turner. I would like to see a veteran get added to that room. I'll put Josh Newton at the outside corner as well. I could see him playing inside as well, though. He'll be kind of played all over the cornerback room. Mike Hilton's now gone. Dax Hill, I assume, would be your starting slot with Josh Newton maybe being able to sub in that position. After that, I mean, you don't really have any total locks after that. I mean, that's just the bottom line in the cornerback room. I mean, this DJ Ivy, who didn't have the greatest preseason, but seventh round pick, I believe, in 2023, 2022. How long has it been now? 2022, maybe? 2023? I think it was 2023. How long has it been since DJ Ivy was drafted? I don't know exactly. You have Marco Wilson, who's another guy who could be in that room. You have Jalen Davis, another guy. Braylon Lux, who I think showed some flashes in the preseason. I think he'll be a practice squad candidate. Um, I guess I'm gonna put Marco Wilson on the roster. I'll put Marco Wilson. I'll put DJ Ivy. I'll say they keep DJ Ivy for now, and then that ends up. I'll say Marco will. I'll say they're all blue. They're all blue because the cornerback room is very, very dicey in Cincinnati right now. So, and nickel cornerback, I mean Dax Hill, Josh Newton, you can have as a nickel cornerback if you want, but I'll put him as an outside cornerback for now. Nickel cornerback room is fine. So I think they'll end up just keeping Dax Hill as your starter. But so you had 43 plus 6. That's 49. You have 4 more spots on the roster. One of them is going to be filled by Tanner Hudson. That means 4 tight ends. So after that, where else do they go? Is the question. You could add Jalen Davis in the nickel cornerback room. He could be your backup nickel cornerback because he is a pure nickel corner, slot cornerback, whatever you want to call it. Safety position. They could add PJ Jules. Do they keep 5 safeties? Special teamer. I think they only keep 6 wide receiver. I think that's a given. I mean, I guess Kendall Milton could be in contention for the fourth running back, but I think they only keep 3. Do they keep another offensive lineman? We'll see. They keep Joe Giles Harris, Muma Meta. I mean, there's a lot of directions that they could go. I'll say they keep another defensive end, maybe. That's only 4 right there. I'll say they keep one more. Cam Sample could be one of those guys. Cedric Johnson. I don't think they give up on Cedric Johnson that quickly. So I'll say they keep Cam Sample coming off an Achilles tear last year. I think he'll be a battle basically, and I think Cedric Johnson as well. So that adds 2 more. Tier 50, I think it was. I'll have to count it up. 5, 11, 23 offense. We already know that. 7, 30, 34, 38, 40, 46 plus 3. That's 49. Oh, and yeah. So that's 51. 51 as the roster stands in this picture right here. Jalen Davis could be a guy. I mean, who else? Howard Cross. Do they keep 6 interior defensive linemen? I don't know. I feel like I feel like Isaiah Thomas had a decent preseason. He could be a practice squad guy. Do they keep another pure tackle on the offensive line? I'll say they keep Howard Cross, maybe? Joe Giles Harris. I mean, the Bengals have tended to keep a lot of linebackers in the past. Like they had a year where they had Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Keandre Jones. They had Joe Bacci. They had Marcus Bailey. Mm, I don't know if they keep Joe Giles Harris though. I mean, PJ Jules can be a special teams guy. They could keep five safeties. He played with some fire. You know what? I'll say PJ Jules is a guy they end up keeping because the safety room is a question mark right now, and he showed some flashes in the preseason, so that ends up being right there. That is 52. You have spot for one more. Howard Cross would be probably my pick. Joe Giles Harris showed some flash in the preseason. Mumajong Meta. It's tough. It's tough. I'm gonna say Howard Cross. He played a lot of snaps in the preseason. Al Golden seems like he wanted to see a lot of Howard Cross. Howard's third. So I'll say he ends up making the roster, but I think the defensive line could be a little too deep in that case. But that is your 53 right there. It's a little dicey with how many defensive linemen are in there, and PJ Jules making the roster at safety. Cornerback room is very much a question mark. Two guys on PUP right now, so yeah. If I go to practice squad, I do think Desmond Ritter will be a practice squad guy, even though, I mean, they'll keep a quarterback on the practice squad no matter who it is, no matter if it's Desmond Ritter or somebody off a waiver wire or the streets. So, Kendall Milton, who had a good game against the Colts, pretty slow, but I mean, he runs with power. Isaiah Williams at the wide receiver position will be on the practice squad. Tight end, I'm going to hold off on that for now. At the offensive line, I'll say Jackson Kirkland gets on there. I'll say Seth McLaughlin gets in there. And then do I keep one more offensive lineman? I keep Andrew Coker, Andrew Rame. Caleb Etienne suffered an injury towards the end of the Colts game the other day. I mean, I already have Seth McLaughlin. Andrew Rain's a primary center. I'll keep a tackle, I guess, because Kirkland can play both. I'll say Andrew Coker is the guy I keep on the practice squad. That is right there. That's six. Look on the defense. Isaiah Thomas, pass rusher, will be on the practice squad, I think. I think they'll keep one interior defensive lineman. So I guess that could be McTelvin, Agam, Eric Gregory. Also, they keep Eric Gregory for the interior defensive line. Linebacker, I think they'll keep multiple. I think they'll keep two linebackers in the practice squad. The question is it Muma Meta? I'm gonna say it is. He had a great preseason last year. I think he just missed the roster this year. I just don't know if there's room for him. He is a fiery special teamer, so we'll see if the Bengals end up keeping him as a fifth linebacker and what they end up doing there. I'll also say Joe Giles Harris ends up making it. So right there, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have more spots for more guys. Jalen Davis will probably be in there. Braylon Lux. Jalen Davis, Braylon Lux. Both in the middle. Um, so right there, that's 11, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. Okay. Wait, Braylon. I don't think there's a Y in there. That's 12 right there. Who else fits on the roster is the question. Or, I mean, who else fits on the practice squad? They could be external free agent signings or external, I should say, external waiver claims from other teams. I'm gonna say Gary Brightwell ends up making it. Maybe they keep two wide receivers. They could keep Jamoy Mays, Rashad Owens, Jordan Moore. Cole Burgess is a guy that could end up making it. I'm gonna say they keep Kendrick Pryor on the practice squad. We'll put him in the receiver here. Practice squad's always tough to fill because a lot of these guys will probably be picked up from other teams. So, uh, Shaka Hayward, I could just keep a third linebacker there for the heck of it. Yeah, I'll keep a third. 15th. We'll spot for one more on the practice squad. Is it a lineman? We'll see. Cole Burgess. I don't think they keep another quarterback. Um, we'll say it's a safety, I guess. Jalen Key. I mean, I'll say they keep Jalen Key because it's a safety and it's not a safety on the practice squad yet. So that's your 16-man practice squad. That is your entirety of my Bengals 53-man roster projection. So you guys can see the entire thing. That's the entire practice squad right there with the entire roster. So yeah, that's how I think things end up shaking out with the Bengals 53-man roster and how I think it will look going into September 7th versus the Cleveland Browns. That's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe to the channel. That would all be greatly appreciated. So next time we'll be on here will be this Friday. We will have my official Cincinnati Bengals 2025 schedule prediction and my record prediction for the Bengals this upcoming season with in-depth analysis on every single game to them. So that'll do it today, guys. This video will be going up a little bit later, and there might be cuts, and this might be inaccurate by the time this video goes up, but we'll see about that. Hope you guys have a good night and enjoy.